Redditors who are married to Karens, how is it like? Divorced Karen, haven't had a need to see a manager since. Thank you, but it is my favorite when family members or boyfriends swing by later to tell me they're sorry for Karen's behavior and that I'm doing a great job. Haha, I've been there too. Always makes me laugh, and also content knowing that those close to Karens are well aware they are indeed Karens. Once a COVID of Karens appears, run for the hills. A collection of Karens is called a migraine. Heard it called a complaint once. The one I heard was an entitlement of Karens. Blink 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 bleayank 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 blink blink blink. Sending out an SOS. To the world, I'm sending out an SOS to the world. I hope that someone gets my. None of them are on here. They're on shared Facebook accounts named Karen and Dave Smith. This exploded more than I could imagine. Thanks for the awards and my first gold. I actually know a Karen and Dave Smith. She's not a Karen though. Their daughter is a shit though. Sometimes it skips a generation. Yup, that's true. There are many peer-reviewed studies on this. My mom is a literal Karen, as in, it's her name, but she's like a bizarro Karen. She will constantly ask to speak with managers and supervisors and bosses, but when said managers arrive, she unloads about the employee helping her out was fantastic, hardworking and friendly, and then she'll spend 20 minutes trying to figure out if she and the manager know someone in common. 9 times out of 10 they do. As a kid it would embarrass me. As an adult it's one of my favorite things about her. She makes people feel good about the work they do, and it's really special to watch how wonderful she makes people feel. Plus she's got long gorgeous silver hair. Edit, Karen and I are crying with all the love and support. She's a wonderful lady, and to give my fair city a much needed boost, this Karen is a lifelong Philadelphian. Thank you all for making mine and my mom's day. Stay safe out there. My sister is a caring Karen. She's spent her life working with the disabled and is currently an essential worker. I knew from the beginning that there would be difficulties, but I loved her and made the leap to make her my forever partner. Yes, her attitude towards certain people and things confused me at times, but by keeping an open mind and accepting her for who she was, everything has worked out well. We've been married for 10 years, we have a darling daughter, and I've even come to love my wife's kimchi fried rice. Karen, not Korean. Not married to a Karen, but married someone with a Karen for a sister. Sil is the freaking worst. I hate more than anything going out to dinner with her, listening to her order food and talk to the servers. Holidays are also terrible. She sends out long lists of expected gifts list. She celebrates every holiday and birthday specifically for presents even when it's not appropriate. Funny thing is, one time I was away from the dinner table when the bill came and Sil waited for me to return to pay the bill by actually handing it to me. She didn't give it to her sibling Miso or pay her half, but expressly handed it to me to pay. By the way, her husband is an idiot and they are a match made in heaven. Edit, I'm sorry to disappoint everyone, but yes, I did pay. There are many reasons as to why, but the biggest one is that it got me out of the restaurant faster. Also, it helps me control the tip. Another time we went to a family brunch where the bill was split. Karen still waited to see what other people tipped so she could lower the overall tip percentage for the waitress to what Sil thought was deserving. We didn't know this until afterwards when she bragged about it later, so no one even knew to stop her. And she is invited to these family meals because she has 2 children we want a relationship with, so she has that emotional blackmail card. My sister and Sil are both Karens. I will show up to restaurants 15 minutes early to warn them. I tell them if it's not done to their liking they will hear about it and they will make your shift hell. I'm just there as a warning. I used to work in restaurants and those people made life hell. I do what I can to help. Generally my drinks are better and we get a free appetizer as soon as those 2 tornadoes walk and all hell breaks loose. Not enough ice, table is too cold, it's too loud, etc. I also tip really big BC. I don't want to associate it with the 2 tornadoes. I love overseas so I only see them 2 weeks out of the year, so it's manageable. Edit, I live overseas but also love it. I only put up with their attitude because they could take my nieces and nephews away from me. I pick my battles. I need my NNN to know I'm always here for them and they can talk to me about anything. I can't risk our relationship being tampered with, especially since I only see them 2 weeks a year. I have stood up to both of them plenty of times, but I'm not about to have an argument every time I see them. After living overseas, I have realized how valuable family is, and I need to accept someone, family or not, for who they are and nothing more. This has more to do with being at peace with myself. Only I can change my actions and reactions. I cannot change them, but what I can do is tip a few shots before they arrive and tip big. I've been blessed, not religious, in having a great husband and stable with money. During the quarantine, I've started reaching out to my old friends who are not as fortunate in buying their kids iPads so they can do school work, science-based activities and books. I think it's time to help those that are not as fortunate but work their asses off. And no, I absolutely do not post about it. They may send a thank you on social media, but it's not initiated by me. Tell them their behavior stinks. Correct them and apologize to staff. Assert yourself and make the world a better place. Last year I was having dinner with a friend and her husband. He's a real fucking charmer, that guy. Usually spends his days with us making snarky comments to his wife and everyone else with an opinion. So we went to this tiny local restaurant, like 50 people crammed in a living room, one of the best restaurants in town. They serve local food and people from all over the world stand in line to get a seat. It's cheap, but the best. So this guy complains about it being small and hot. He complains about the tables, gossiping about the other people around him. They could perfectly well hear him. I'm usually the kind of guy who keeps his mouth shut because I know speaking up won't change a thing. I had a Karen for a mother, a single mom. I know when I should shut up, but I'm getting all worked up and he starts insulting his wife. People look at him from all over the restaurant, like really mean comments telling us weird things about her personality, their sex life. It was my breaking point. I told him to quit it and be nice. He goes all attack mode on me. So I raise my voice and tell him that if he can't be nice, I'm leaving. Look around me to the people with a kinda sorry to disturb you look and took my leave. Told the staff the food was great and that I 100% would come back, but bring better company. They looked happy about that. Went to smoke outside. My partner and friend came out and I told them he's a prick and I'm not dealing with him anymore. I went home. He was not amused, neither was anyone else, but I went home, had a beer and played some video games while they had to bite their tongue. Fuck that guy. Happy to never see him again. It is the absolute best. I love my wife. Edit. I didn't write that. Blink twice if you're being held captive. Edit. He seems to be held captive. He's under quarantine. Blink 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 blink. 6 blinks. This is worse than we thought. My sister is a Karen. Everyone feels so sorry for her husband. Everything is his fault. He is treated like a slave. She only addresses him by yelling. She constantly insults him. We have no idea why he hasn't divorced her or flipped out and attacked her. We have all told her to cool it and her response is that he's just so stupid. I could go on and on, but my sister really is a horrible person. Unfortunately, you may have to come to the realization that he's into femdom and your sister can suck the chrome off a trailer hitch. Oh my God, you made me read this with my own innocent eyes. Not married to one, but mom was a major Karen back when I was growing up. Mom, can we just go? Was my favorite question. Then the apologetic nod as we leave the store. I really relate to this. All throughout my childhood it happened. I remember being an embarrassed 11-year-old walking around apologizing for my mom's behavior in stores and restaurants. It sucked. It's supposed to be the other way around. I know a couple with a Karen. She blamed him for everything. The husband was, in our opinion, something of a saint. Once she broke a glass in the kitchen, came and sat back down at the table, and said that was your fault. We all just stared at her. She looked sheepish and said I knew that one probably wouldn't work. They're divorced now. I guess even saintliness has its limits. My husband's ex is Karen. She's a classic narcissist. When one of our feral hens started acting aggressive towards other hens, my stepson named her Karen. Edit. Wow, the most upvotes I've ever had. No awards, though. Huh. Also, we live on Kauai, so we differentiate between feral chickens and the ones cage raised for food and or eggs. We have 5 or so roosters, 8 or so hens, 3 of which have 4, 6, and 8 chicks. We feed the adults oats and scraps and the chicks get chick starter until they can eat other stuff. We really love them. Except the roosters. They're righteous bastards. Carhan. Honestly, she's perfect. She makes me so happy. So happy. YHOFOND love. Not the married to one, but my mom's a Karen. Literally overreacts to everything. Whenever something doesn't go her way, you guessed, gotta speak to the manager or whoever is in charge. Sometimes really embarrassing to go out in public with her because she'll just yell at the service workers for the smallest of things. Also, she has a bob cut. My mom was a Karen for a while. She literally didn't realize it until my brother and I started calling her out on it when we were early teens because we're embarrassed. She made genuine efforts to change, and a few years later was the sweetest woman you ever meet. Just saying, there is hope. Close friends' parents are assholes, but she's really sweet. She learned bad behavior from parents, so she would be super rude when we went out, if she didn't get her way, etc., but never to friends. I told her about it, and she was sort of receptive but didn't really get it, so I started pointing it out at restaurants. Mary, that's super rude. WTF, dude. Mary chill says stuff like that. Probably super annoying, but I made my point. She very quickly realized she was being a dick, and she changed. If someone is a good person but they're being a dick, it helps to have a chat first. Maybe they just don't realize it. My mom's a Karen. She is self-aware she is a Karen. My siblings and I send her memes about it. When my stepdad divorced her last summer, we were all amazed he lasted 17 years, to be honest. None of us like going out with her, it's terrible, and my husband just straight up tells her, no, you aren't talking to the manager when we go in her place. I'll tell you guys a story my step told us. They are farmers and own a small beef and beef farm. They have a store they go to for bee supplies. The owner called my stepdad and asked him to please be the one to pick up their stuff because his staff was tired of dealing with my mom. He is the only one who went to the store for the next 5 years. Don't think there's any Karen's husbands on Reddit. They're probably all on Facebook, or divorced, and when they are, it's mentioned in their bio. My mom is a Karen. She thinks the world is supposed to cater to her, serve her, and everyone else is wrong. Once we went to Carl's Jr., she ordered 4 burgers, for the 4 of us. She pulls one out of the bag while the guy is getting our drinks and hides it. She complains that he forgot a burger. She pulls them out one by one and counts it in front of him. It's obviously missing because she hid it, and he's swearing up and down he put them all in the bag. I'm stunned, speechless, and it happened so fast. She got a free burger, and laughed as we drive off. I am just staring at her, and she opens it up to eat it on the drive home. And she ate her actual burger like the 5th one never existed. I can't even explain how she is when she's in the hospital. She treats it like a luxury stay in a hotel. Co-worker of mine is married to a Karen. He tells us stories multiple days a week how she drives to 4 different grocery stores and harasses the employees because their stock is low on the specific item she wants. About a week ago, I pulled up to my local McDonald's drive-thru after work. During normal times, this one is usually open until 11 p.m. They changed their hours, but put it on small piece of paper, taped to the drive-thru speaker. They closed at 9. I arrived at like 8:45, pulled up, the girl asked for my order. So I looked at the speaker and said I would like a, oh fuck, you close at 9, I'm not ordering anything, sorry, and started to pull away. I still had my window down and heard a long and tired thank you now, as I drove away. I still laugh about the way it sounded. I taught my nephews, ages 9 and 11, about Karens last year when they stayed with us for a week after school let out. After describing traits and observing them in the wild, they asked somewhere around day 2, is our mom a Karen? My mom can be difficult sometimes, but isn't a Karen. When my sister and I were in our mid-20s, my mom had to start caring for our grandma. After a particularly stressful Saturday afternoon at my grandma's home, we were all carpooling back to my mom's house, and she said to my sister and I, if I ever start acting like grandma, you better tell me. My sister and I sat there in complete silence. After a couple beats, she yelled, I do not act like my mother. It made my sister and I laugh until we cried, mostly because, yes, she does act like her mother. Not married, 4 years of a toxic relationship though. I broke up with her on Monday, again. We're kind of fucked financially because of this lockdown, so we are just feeling things out for a month before we decide for sure. This cycle is on repeat. I constantly have to cut her off and speak over her because of the way she treats people. Waiters, sales assistants, gym staff, neighbors, landlords, randoms we meet in bars, etc. Note, we were both waiters at the beginning of our relationship, so she has worked in the industry, but still lacks empathy. She blames the waiter if something is out of stock, etc. My second major issue: we are both English second language teachers. She teaches kindergarten, while I teach high school. Now that we are working from home, I hear how she speaks to her students, and it's really opened up another aspect of her personality that I don't like. She will berate a student for not understanding instead of evaluating her ability to explain. Shitting on 3-year-olds in their second language doesn't fly with me. A lot of her behavior stems from a self-defense mechanism due to insecurity, but that's not an excuse. She doesn't realize how mean she is to people, including myself. I'm a people pleaser that would rather sacrifice my own comfort than someone else's. She expects me to be an asshole to people because I'm a biggish guy with tattoos. I don't exactly look soft. It's toxic as hell. Please help. You want help to keep from getting back together again? Imagine next time you have this mind-blowing sex, she falls pregnant. Imagine sharing parenting with someone who teaches 3-year-olds and shits on them for mistakes. Your child being shat on by her mother, and very little you'd be able to do about it, and you'd be tied to her forever. Even if you did finally leave for good, go find better dude. You can do it. Not married to one, but my mom is absolutely one. I spend most of my time with her in public apologizing to people after she's walked away. The one and only time it comes in handy is when I've bought cars and had her come in during the price negotiation phase. She's knocked off thousands purely due to how unpleasant she is and how much people want her to just get the hell out of the door. My ex-wife is a Karen, in every sense but name. It was always so embarrassing. She was incapable of treating anyone like a human for the most trivial of occurrences. It was hell for me, as a person that's pretty forgiving and don't seek out confrontation. So in a one-word description, it was hell. LOL. My life has been a living hell. The number of times I have had to intervene to save the life of a customer service rep over nickels is insane. I've asked for divorce now just a couple weeks ago. Guess how that went over?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel.